It has been 85 days since Formula 1 ended the 2023 season, where Max Verstappen and Red Bull dominantly won both the drivers' and constructors' titles. Last season, Max Verstappen made Formula 1 history by becoming the most dominant driver in the history of Formula 1, winning 19 of the 22 races of the 2023 season, and along with his teammate Sergio Perez, Red Bull would win an unprecedented 21 races out of 22. The 22nd race that was won was by Carlos Sainz and Ferrari, and that doesn't even count Oscar Piastri's sprint win at Qatar. However, Formula 1 returns this week, starting Wednesday, from Wednesday to Friday with pre-season testing, and then from Friday with Drive to Survive Season 6, and then next weekend, the first race of the 2024 Formula 1 World Championship. Now, considering that all the unveilings and the announcements of the car liveries and the shakedowns are now officially complete as we await pre-season testing on Wednesday, I've made a list of my top 5 favourite F1 car designs of 2024. By the way, just to clear up this video, this is not just based on the liveries themselves. I mean, to be fair, let's face it, most of the liveries in 2024 look absolutely abysmal, but this is not just going to be based on the liveries, this is also going to be based on the car designs and what the cars actually look like on track. And also, this video is being filmed right before pre-season testing, so there's a good chance that teams will bring upgrades when it comes to the front wing, chassis, the side pods, engine covers, rear wings, diffusers, that will change the look of the cars significantly. So if you're hyped for the new F1 2024 season, leave a like on the video and subscribe for more real-life Formula 1 content. My name's TomGorian, and welcome to the top 5 F1 car designs of 2024. Alright, let's get this video started with number 5. I'm actually going to go Alpine on this one. Now, there has been massive controversy when it comes to the livery and what the livery actually looks like, considering that Alpine are usually known for having mostly a pink car for the first 3 or 4 races, and then in the European season they go with the typical, you know, sky dark blue, if you will. I personally thought the livery in 2021 and 2022 looked sick. As far as this livery is concerned, it's mostly black. They went for a mostly carbon livery, and they've pretty much followed most of the other teams when it comes to, you know, McLaren and Mercedes from last season, Alfa Romeo, also known as Kick, as far as trying to remove as much paint as possible. I don't really believe that, you know, the more paint that you remove, the more time you save. I think there's more efficient ways to gain time, and I don't think removing paint from the livery is one of them. But I cannot lie, like, at first, when the livery got first announced, I didn't really like it that much, but just looking at it again, it really is catching me on, and I can't lie with the fact that they're going for pink as well. They're switching it up again like they did last season. They've went for they've went mostly black, and they've went for the blue and the pink outline, and as you can see, they've got a pink outline around the nose and also the chassis. They've retained the BWT sponsors on the front wing and also on the rear wing. And just with the car design as well, as you can see from the front picture, they've retained the wider nose part of the car. They've made the central part of the nose a little bit more wider, and when it comes to the front wing, they've went for more of a Red Bull approach as far as a straighter front wing as well. The car itself, like, they've got a different side pod compared to the one that they started last season with the boxy side pod. They've went for a more narrower again, it's all the teams on here are pretty much based on Red Bull's design, and I'll get to Red Bull in a minute, but in my opinion, I do love this car. I do love the whole, you know, the black aura of it, and then just the blue outline on the nose and the chassis. And yeah, the BWT sponsorships, it's a little bit, I'd say a little bit too much, but it still works anyway. So I hope, for my sake, because I'm an Alpine fan, hopefully our car's quick, because if our car isn't quick this season, then it's safe to say that Alpine, we're cooked, bros. We're cooked. Right, number 4. This might be a controversial take. I'm going Haas. I can't lie when it comes to this year's Haas. This year's Haas is a way better design and a livery than the one that they produced last season. When it comes to this year's Haas, I get a bit of like a resemblance of the 2022 Alpine, because they've gotten a more of a narrower nose design. They went for a bit of a straight edge nose with the chassis. The front wing is a little bit curved, but it's clear what direction they've went with. Obviously, it's a Ferrari-based car, so obviously they've went with last year's Ferrari side pods, and obviously the Ferrari mirror arms, how it slightly sticks out, and then it goes outwards, like the Ferrari of last season. Obviously, this car is pretty much based on the 2023 Ferrari, we all know this, but the livery itself, the livery is actually kind of fire. Yeah, it does, it's obviously Haas, it's Haas through and through, but Haas have found a way of making white, black and red work, especially when it comes to the front wing, how it has MoneyGram with the red just outside of the words money and gram, and then you have the black nose with the sponsorships of Pirelli and then the US flag, the Haas logo. I would change the number font and make the number font a little bit more smaller, but then obviously as you get to the chassis, it goes white, and then the Haas, the chassis, the halo's white. I don't agree with that. I think the halo should have been black or even red. I think, to be honest, I think if it would have turned black with red outlines, maybe that would have made the livery a little bit more better. But, you know, it's a Haas livery. I don't think we really have any expectations for Haas as far as their performance this season. We kind of really know how Haas will do based on last season's and other seasons' trajectory. They have a strong start, and it always kind of blows my mind that when it comes to the first race or the second race, you know, Bahrain, Saudi, Australia, they're always qualifying, you know, in the low ends of the top 10. They're making Q3, they're scoring 9th and 8th place. You know, didn't they in 2022, didn't they finish 6th, or didn't Magnussen finish 6th in 2022 or something? I have no idea, but they always do well in the first 2-3 races, and then as the season goes on, they always fall off. And I never understand that. I don't know why they fall off, if it's because of, you know, money, or if it's development, or if they just really can't be asked. And I've heard a lot of, you know, speculation about, you know, Andretti, their motivations. You know, in my opinion, if Haas don't have any motivation to really make a development towards their car, then why are they even here? I don't understand, but that's another video for another day. But in my opinion, Haas, that car design, the livery, I really like it, and I'm hoping they don't really mess around with it too much. Obviously, again, when it comes to the engine covers and the side pods, they went with the downward outwash when it comes to the rear end of the car. That's the trajectory that all the teams are going for, but the Haas design is a better design than the Alpine livery and the Alpine design, so Haas on number 4. Number 3, again, this might be another hot take, but I'm actually going McLaren as number 3. The reason I'm going number 3 for McLaren, I don't really know. It's not like they've changed much as far as either the livery or the actual car design. I have noticed that they've kind of changed their side pods. They went for the Alpine style boxier design. The side pod's more narrow than last year, and also it's more of a box compared to, let's say, you know, Haas's design, Alpine's design, and most importantly, you know, Ferrari's and Mercedes' design. You know, considering how strongly McLaren finished last season, I mean, it's like they were waiting for that, you know, Austria race or that Silverstone race before they really started to pick up their pace. And they were the only challengers, really, in the second half of the season that could really take the fight to Red Bull. I mean, obviously, they had chances to win at Silverstone. You know, Oscar Piastri won the sprint race in Qatar, but they just never really had the package. They weren't really ready to fully make a charge at Max and Red Bull. But as far as this livery is concerned, black and orange, the way that they've done it, it's a nice livery. And to me, for this time period of McLaren, that's the only colours that they should be going for, black and orange. Obviously, they've been messing around. Last season, they brought in 3 different liveries with the Triple Crown, with the chrome livery for Silverstone. Well, chrome, it wasn't really chrome, was it? It was just part of, you know, silver. And then I think there was one more for, what was it, Las Vegas? I'm not really sure, but the way that they've mixed in the black and the orange, it's simple, it's effective. They've got the Google Chrome livery on the engine cover there. And just, again, with the way that they've done the side pods, it's an outwash, down outwash. I feel like with most of the teams, they aren't really going with a shark fin this year. They're trying to minimize that as possible. So I actually really like that, because I think the engine cover looks way more slicker and way more clean without a shark fin. But with the engine cover and how the engine cover goes into the diffuser and the rear wing, I do really like this car. It's an aggressive looking design, and they've got the orange parts as far as the engine cover and the side pod, even on the halo. To me, it's simple but effective. And the only thing we now ask of McLaren, do they have the pace in pre-season testing to get the job done and to beat Red Bull? Because that's what we want. Number 2 goes to Ferrari. I cannot lie, look at that car. She is a stunner. I really love this car. I really like what they've done with the red. Like, it's more of a darker red like it was back in the mid-2010s. You know, even though 2014's car was one of the worst cars in Ferrari history, it kind of reminds me of that old-esque, you know, red, you know, dark red Ferrari. As you can see, they've got the shell there, they've got the red halo. The red halo's now back for the first time since 2018. They brought that back. And I actually like what they've done with the livery, as far as how they've mixed in with the white and gold line. It looks like a gold line. It's like a dark yellow-esque line. I think that's inspiration from their hypercar that won Le Mans last year, I believe. But in my opinion, this livery slaps, and the actual car design is actually not a bad design, to be honest. They have retained some of the features from last year's Ferrari. As you can see, the front wing, I don't know how to describe the front wing. I want to say the same front wing as last season, but I think the design changes. It's more with the nose, and how the nose is more narrow than it was last season. And I think the biggest difference is maybe the side pods. I'd say the side pods are more like thin, as they were maybe last year. But again, not really much changes on the Ferraris. They've retained the mirror arms. I think they might have changed the mirror arms. I don't know into what degree, but I think when it comes to just the Ferrari, it's just the livery. I like what they've done with the red colour. I like what they've done with the number font as well, with the yellow outline, and just the car design as well. It does look sleek. It does look like a Ferrari, a race-winning Ferrari, and I hope it's quick. I hope that Ferrari now have a car that can compete against Red Bull for the championship, because that's what we want. We want Ferrari in the mix. We need Ferrari in the mix, because after 2023, it was a disaster for Ferrari. They only won one race, and that race was at Singapore. Obviously, Charles Leclerc had a couple of pole positions in Baku and stuff, but he just never really had the race pace to compete against the Red Bulls of Sergio and also Max Verstappen. But I think what makes this livery for me is definitely the red halo and also the number font. I really do like what they've done here, and especially with the darker red vibe onto it, you know, Red Danger. I really hope Ferrari get the act together, but as far as the livery, second best in my opinion. This car might stir up a lot of controversy because I've seen mixed reactions since the car got launched. My favourite car design of 2024 before pre-season testing goes to Mercedes. Look at that. If anyone knows me, everyone knows my favourite Formula 1 car of all time is the McLaren MP420, the 2005 McLaren, with that monstrous V10 that Kimi Raikkonen and Juan Pablo Montoya drove. This has crazy resemblance of that car, and just look at it. It looks absolutely gorgeous. It's not one colour dominated, it's not all black and it's not all, you know, silver. It's a mix of both, and to me, it's the perfect mix of Mercedes as far as the silver, the blue, the black as well. They've done it right. And even with the Neos red on, you know, the engine cover, on top of the engine cover where the camera is and where the air vent goes, and with a red outline just, you know, underneath the chassis, underneath the blue line, and with the NSOS on the top of the front wing end plates. This car looks absolutely phenomenal. I love what they've done with the silver paint and how it's a gradient, and it goes from the silver paint on the chassis to then black on the engine cover and the rear of the car. I like how it just, the whole vibe, like the engine cover is black. They've retained the Mercedes stars. I think they still have the red star for Niki Lauda, I am not mistaken. I don't know if they do or not. I'm not really sure, but just the car, the livery looks perfect. And then even the car design as well, it looks aggressive. It looks absolute stunning. I mean, Hamilton and George Russell did a shakedown at Silverstone, and the first thing I noticed is that they've changed the front wing. Now, what I mean by that is this. If you look at the announcement photos that they did with the car, you notice that they have a Alfa Romeo-esque front wing, if you will. They have a bit of a narrow nose as well. But if you go to the shakedown pictures that they've posted, they've changed the front wing, and they've went with a more like a curved. They went with more of a curved front wing. I don't know how to explain it. If you want a full in-depth detail on the Mercedes, go check out the races video on the Mercedes, because that's more in detail than I can ever explain it. But I love how the front wing is black and how it's just curved. So it's like two inlets, and then you have the third one. And then you've got the silver nose into the chassis with the black mirror arms. The black halos return as well. And then you have the black rear wing, followed by, you know, the blue outlines on the actual mirrors. The car itself, it looks like a race winner. And I think for all Mercedes fans, hopefully this is a race winner, considering that this is the final Mercedes that Lewis Hamilton will drive, because next season he is going to Ferrari for 2025. But I can't lie when I say this. That Mercedes is absolute stunning. Probably the best looking car on this grid, and I'm hoping, for the sake of Formula One, that for like Mercedes, Ferrari, they get this shit together, because we need a championship fight. We need Ferrari in the mix. We need Mercedes in the mix. Hopefully McLaren closes the gap, and you know, even Aston Martin in that degree. I don't think Aston Martin will compete with Red Bull the same way that they did in the beginning of the season, but time will tell as pre-season testing begins this Wednesday. Hopefully I can make some videos on testing, because it's only 3 days from Wednesday to Friday, and then that's it. No more testing until the first weekend of the season. But that is that for my top 5 F1 cars of 2024 pre-season. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more F1 real-life content, including F1 23, race previews, predictions. I'll have my season predictions out next week before the first race in Bahrain, and then I'll try and have all the reactions to the 24 races coming for this season. So thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe for more real life F1 content, and I'll see you all in the next video in a bit.